Okay. Welcome to our annual meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order for December the 5th, 2022. Looking for a motion to adopt November 24th, 2022 council meeting minutes. Moved by Councillor Neppard, second by Councillor Barrett. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Look for a motion to adopt December 5th, 2022 council meeting agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Lee and second by Deputy Mayor House. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under 4 now we have financials. So I'll turn it over to Councillor Barrett.
Okay, we're looking for a motion to approve invoices for November in the amount of $57,663.74. I reviewed them. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at them or not, but I reviewed them and there's one issue, and see you probably got an issue too, that I noticed is that we seem to have 2 legal teams. We have Cox and Palmer and we got Stewart
and McKelvey, are they legal?
Stuart McGillivray we can contact him for up to 15 minutes, I believe it is, of verbal advice with no charge. If you want anything written, then they charge us. If you go beyond 15 minutes, then they'll charge you. But if you call them up, if you got a question about something that we're not 100% sure on, we can get 15 minutes of their time free of charge. So other than that, I don't know. I haven't seen. You guys went over the invoice.
There is an invoice there for, I think it's about $900. I don't have it in front of me, but I just wonder, it just didn't strike me is why we need 2 law firms.
No.
What's the function of Cox and Palmer?
Cox and Palmer is in regards to an issue with previous council and a former employee. So that's who we brought on board then. Other than that, we don't know much about that ourselves, right?
Yeah, other than that one, that's the only issue that's
I just had a couple of questions. I wondered as well about people stuff.
Yes.
There's an invoice there for $4,025. And I guess the obvious question is, are we still paying them and are we getting anything from them?
We're finished with people stuff.
Okay.
That was the final payment.
So that was the previous council that engaged them to look at recruitment of staff?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're no longer.
We're no longer engaged with people stuff.
I also wonder what WEX Canada is, WEX Canada.
That's her.
That's a mobile vessel, I should say, for all of your fuel that you use and all your equipment.
So it's our
It's
fleet.
been changed over. Now we're being invoiced by WEX Canada.
Okay,
I'm not sure what the connection is between mobile and WEX Canada. Obviously, there is some relationship.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who are now starting invoicing us. So we won't be paying mobile any longer. We'll be
Okay.
paying WEX Canada.
and the pickup is listed there, so that's a monthly charge for the fuel for the pickup, $631?
Yep.
Does that seem like a lot of fuel?
Seems like a lot to me.
Yeah. Not Tim Horton runs. Yeah, it does seem high, I have to agree.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And that's something we can always address with staff.
Okay.
Any further questions with the request for approval of invoices?
Did we get reimbursed for the extra tipping fees, Josie, from Containerized?
Not yet.
They were the blue bag contaminated that we talked about last.
Yeah, they told me
meeting.
to do up an invoice for them and they'll reimburse us.
Okay,
And Josie's been reducing the invoices. I noticed that you've got comments on all the invoices that should be paid at the flat rate.
yeah, that's what we agreed to.
Not
We're
the
paying
contaminated
as per the
rate.
contract.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? So you heard the motion brought forward by Councillor Barrett. Do I have a seconder? Second by Councillor House. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, at our last meeting, we approved our budget for the year.
Mhm.
And when we sent it to municipal affairs, we reviewed it, came back with some questions, and thank God they did. Because the questions allowed us to reduce our budget by $96,000.
Excellent.
There was a mistake due with the federal gas tax.
Okay.
So our expenses are down, and consequently, as a result of that, the amount that we have to take from our surplus funds has now been reduced by $96,000.
Okay.
That is shown on page 11. That was originally 200, going off the top of my head, but originally $201,000, and now we're going to be taking reserve of about $106,000.
Yep.
For the, what would be a deficit budget if we didn't take it out of our surplus.
Okay.
And we can't have a deficit budget.
No.
So we just saved, thank God, they raised a question, we just saved $96,000 basically.
It's always nice to have, no?
How much of the surplus are we allowed to carry?
Surplus, I don't know, is there a limit?
No.
I'm not aware of any limit because,
So we're supposed to be running on a balanced budget.
Oh, yes, that's right, you have to have a balanced budget, but at the end of the year, you don't spend all your funds. What you don't spend remains with the town, of course, we don't have to give it anybody. Yeah, it's the town's money.
you can invest it and earn interest from it, or you can keep moving it forward,
No,
which is
but-
what the council. can
Put
do.
Keep it for other years.
projects in
Yeah,
the town, like,
Yeah.
like they did one year, they paid so much on septic.
exactly.
Yeah.
So this year, instead of the tax increase, we took the money from the surplus.
Yeah.
So we keep our,
Yeah.
our rate the same, right?
Keep it
Excellent.
Okay.
So I don't know that we need to get approval for the revision to the budget.
I would make a motion, yes.
Okay. So move. I move
Okay.
that the budget be accepted as per the revised figures showing the reduction in the surplus that we have to put in reserve.
Okay, so motion brought forward by Councillor Barrett, I have a seconder.
Second.
Seconded by Derek House or Councillor House, my apologies. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Permits. Did someone bring forward the permit that's on this?
That's the one that we had the discussion about, Derek, the permit for the fence at 4 Crimson Avenue.
Yes.
And Derek and I, on the Planning Development Committee, had a look at that, and everything was according to the town's regulations, and it met standards that are laid out for a fence, so we had no difficulty with recommending that. So I would like to make a motion that permit be approved for the fence at 4 Crimson Avenue.
Okay, we heard a motion brought forward by Deputy Mayor House and the seconder. Second by Councillor Nippert. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Additional business, we have a request for a donation to the emergency food services. I'm assuming that's the emergency food service pay. Joseph?
Yes,
Okay, and I'll ask our finance committee, is that in our budget?
Yes, it has been in the budget in previous years. I think every year we've made a donation to around Christmas. Well, and with the food hampers.
Okay. So that's something that'll continue again this year?
Yes.
Okay. So how much normally is the donation?
I knew you were gonna ask that. And I see Josie's over going, trying to call it crazy to find the amount.
So like back in school.
Yeah.
And that's the one, if you read their letter, and they're indicating that Stephenville had approved a grant of $5,000.
Yeah.
And
And they're asking us for.
yeah, they're reaching out to the other communities in the area, because I think the actual note comes from the town of Stephenville, from the town clerk with the town of Stephenville, and not from emergency food services, right?
How much did we do previously, Josie, do you know?
sorry, I don't have that. I can,
Well, we can make a motion to bring it forward, that we will make a donation based upon previous year's donation. So that way I don't have to come back to another meeting. Once Josie finds out what it is, then we can just send them a check. Okay.
So to approve the same amount that we
The
paid
same amount
last
that
year.
we, yeah.
Fair.
Okay, can I get a motion to bring that forward?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Barrett. Second by Councillor Nippert.
Next time I'm not in them.
Any further discussion?
See that you failed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request for a bursary for student nurses. I seen that letter there, but it's the first time I've heard of it myself. And I don't know if it's something that we made a donation to before.
It seems to me it's some brand new.
Yeah.
I think so.
And so that's something that was never in our budget. So right now, it might be a good thing, but unfortunately, we only have so much to go around, and this is the time of year where our budget's almost due and used up, so I personally can't.
The other issue that came to mind for me is, we need to look a little more closely, I guess, at how this committee is associated, or how, if they're associated with hospitals. Oh, sorry. We need to take a closer look
Yeah.
at whether this committee, and if this committee is actually associated in any way with the recruiting done by the hospital, or
Yeah.
if it's somebody that just ad hoc started a group that they want to get people in, or, and what their mandate is, and who's, under whose auspices they come into effect, those types of things. I mean, it seems to be a worthwhile thing. But the first thing that really jumped out at me is, this is an individual who's starting a fairly complex recruiting process. Very qualified, number one.
Yeah.
Who are they associated with? Does the hospital have this under their auspices as well, or
Just as a private
is
entity
this
trying
just
to.
a private entity?
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
That should be tabled for future meeting.
Perhaps?
Yep.
Table.
Yeah, because I wouldn't think it'd be urgent to have that done before the end of the year. Emergency food services, yes.
Yes.
Because that's important that be
Yeah,
done.
especially, the Christmas season coming on is a hard time for a lot of families in our community, so that is, yeah.
Probably a good point.
So for the request for diversity for students, we'll table that for another discussion. Request for donation to the Stevenville Historical Society. I believe we have donated before, have we? And there was an amount of $500. Is that something we want to continue?
Is it in our budget?
Yes, it helps with, I guess, servicing.
Okay. That's, yeah,
It's a good idea.
okay.
We'll have to charge part of it back to Stevens because they probably get a greater. I know that we donate $500 to the Stevensville Historical Society.
Yeah, you heard the motion brought forward by Councillor Barrett, second by Council or Deputy Mayor House. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now, I skipped over number 5, new business McCarthy's Lane subdivision. Because I don't feel that's something that we can be discussing and making a decision on right now, because there's too much information that's still needed to be brought forward for the council to make an informed decision. And not only for us, but for engineers and things like that. So that's something we're going to have to, I guess, table for the new year and take it off this one. Everyone in agreement?
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. All right, then I'll move on now to committee reports, and I'll start with my left here with Council or Deputy Mayor House.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. And finance?
Nothing other than budget, no, I could get done tonight, and that's looked after.
Okay, roads and maintenance?
Nothing new to report yet.
All right, and our other councillors were assigned their committees, but they're new at it, so they haven't had a chance to attend anything, so.
We do have an issue with human relations.
Yeah.
And that's a grievance that we have to deal with.
So we have no committee reports. All right. Well, I think that's it for our agenda. So I'll have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor McGraw.
You were gonna send.
Thank you, Nickel. Thank you, Nickel.
Second.
Second by Councillor Nipper. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.
That was directly Wayne.
Not yet.
What the hell?
Not yet.
First.